Election day, and we do have some big ones in our regions just 3 weeks from tomorrow, except in New Jersey with a headline race. That happens this Wednesday. Cory Booker taking on Steve Lonegan in the sprint to the Senate. But there are some unexpected hurdles in that race, Andrew, and we thought this thing was going to be a blowout, and it's getting tighter by the week.
And Rich, there's more tightening in the race. Monmouth out with a poll, putting Steve Lonegan just 10 points back, but with Cory Booker over 50%. It's tighter than expected, but poll averages echo that Booker lead. Still, it's big gun time in the race's closing days as Booker's superstar tried to link Lonegan to congressional Republicans.
New Jersey also has the opportunity to send a message to the entire country about what kind of leadership we expect from our representatives in Congress. That we're better than the shutdown politics we've seen in Washington.
Meanwhile, Steve Lonegan's big gun tried to link Lonegan to the Tea Party. Sarah Palin stumping for Lonegan on Friday. Rich?
Dom, why do you think this thing is tightened so much? I mean, you see the ads from Lonegan. He's calling Booker more than once. I heard him all week long. Corrupt. He's calling him here extreme liberal.
It's tightening, frankly, because Cory Booker doesn't have a record. Plain and simple. I mean, I know it's a Democratic state. I know that he's the Democratic mayor. Hold on, Richard. I know that he's the Democratic mayor of Newark. But since he took over for Sharp James, what has he done? And that last commercial that Lonegan has out, tell me one thing that's not factual in which he's going after.
The corruption stuff that he alleges.
55% is a windfall?
Windfall.
Yeah.
No, that's not what they call it in politics.
No.
There's a different word that I can't think of.
Thank you. Keep going.
No, something with a win. But this is not going to be a close race. It's not going to be 70-30. That's no shock.
But time out. And maybe it's not fair. Christie, he's held his 30 to 40 point margin. Booker started off in the same neighborhood too. This thing is tightened. Whether he's been a vacant candidate where he hasn't been around as much, or he's allowed his opponent to define him, all of a sudden now he's coming out with negative stuff.
Wait till a week out for Christie. It'll close. It always look at the game between the Denver Broncos and Jacksonville yesterday. It was 28 points. It closes at the end, man. This is just the nature of the beast.
Something else that hasn't been brought up until this point, and this is coming from a guy who grew up in New Jersey, the state that first came up with driving while black. There's a racial component to this too.
I'm glad you said it.
There's
I'm
a
glad
racial
I didn't have
component
to
to
say
this.
it.
Why didn't you just fall silent?
Because if I say it, it's Dominic playing the race card. Of course, race is playing a role in this.
Just play the race card.
No, I let him do it.
If I know that argument, then how come Cory Booker is not beloved in Newark? Okay, and the population in Newark is heavily African American.
He's got the former mayor of Newark nipping at his heels and playing against him. I mean, you may see Sharp James make a run for mayor of Newark when Cory Booker goes to Washington.
And he would win.
But
if he could
see,
serve.
this is an example where there was a stronger opponent than Steve Lonegan. And trust me, we don't have enough time to get into the crazy stuff Lonegan said. Racist stuff, by the way, too. But if you had a more credible opponent, Booker is beatable. I mean, isn't this, we've seen this happen so many times, but is there a challenge in GOP about candidate recruitment?
Well, not in the Hudson Valley of New York.
There you go. But you know what? We saw stuff. We saw stuff. Certainly, we saw it happen in Delaware. We've seen it happen in Indiana. We saw it happen. You saw a whole bunch of candidates that weren't ready for prime time in winnable districts in winnable states.
New Jersey, look at Governor Christie. New Jersey has clearly at least one outsized talent, but I would imagine that there are others who may be deterred by just the kind of vituperative politics that we see being played out in so many aspects of our electoral
well, we were talking
climate.
about this before. The governor of Colorado, who was talked about maybe running for president, he said, why? Why do I want to be part of this toxic environment where there's just so much, antipathy before even the day starts? And he may not run. And I still would love to know, with everything in Washington, why you're even considering going back to that madhouse now. But
you gotta keep pushing.
All right, good for you on it.